And benvenuti, fellas and bellas all over the world. Welcome to another episode of the Napoli Rant. I am Rafiz, joined by my co-host, Aveka Rametsulias, Rafa Rispo.
Raf Bizzarro.
Ciao, bello. Good to see you again. Hey, so nice. I do it twice. Let's just let it roll. But hello to you. Hey, all right, it stopped on its own. Hello to you, Rafa. Hello to everybody in the chat as well as our audio listeners. Let's get this rant on the road. Unfortunately, Napoli suffering a loss this week in the Lazio. 1-0 at the Stadio Maradona at home always hurts a little bit more. We'll be talking about that match, a little bit of our reactions, a little bit of the Napoli world reactions to this loss, because we've been spoiled for a little while, Rafa, haven't we? So
we sure have.
This is a little bit of uncharted waters this season for us. Just a bit. We'll talk about that. We'll give her a beast of the match again, just our general reaction of the game, and a little bit of talk, a little bit of news out there regarding some finances, ADL, the team, body, Napoli, agents, all these little bit of drama. We're going to touch on that a bit, and then of course we're going to take some comments and questions out in the chat. But let's start with the game. Napoli Lazio 1-0 the aftermath. Rafa. Let's talk about performance-wise. We saw. Oh, first of all, I didn't do the first person in the chat today. I'm sorry. Napoli Club Toronto first person. All right, lads. Line is set at 9:05 again. Yes, again, a little bit more technical difficulties today, but we are back. Hello, Napoli Club Toronto. Pasquale Napoli down in the house. Let's go. Look like Zombo needs a rest, Maximus. We're going to talk about this. Pasquale says, Biz, see what happens when you miss the rant? We drop points. Just kidding. You could take a few more nights off. I think we'll be okay. Thank you, Pasquale. I appreciate it. Buonasera, Gaetano. Calma.
When you miss the rant, Rafa has technical difficulties. Actually, that's every week, even when you don't miss the rant.
That's so funny. Well, it's tradition now, isn't it? So
it is tradition.
It's like you need to have technical difficulties or else.
Listen, this chat should know that 9 o'clock really means like 9:15.
Yeah, 9 o'clock is like ballpark figure.
Just like how we try to do 45 minutes, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we've been trying 45 minutes for 2 years, but it's all right. We'll get there eventually, and we'll get to be exactly 9. But listen, we're just giving you a few minutes to go get your popcorn and and warm up that pizza or something, that leftover pizza.
Get that cafe,
Enjoy. Gaetano, thank you, says this is early. We appreciated that. But yeah, no, let's talk about this game real quick, guys. And I want your reaction in the chat. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're thinking. I want to know how this game made you feel. What did you take from it? The players you liked, the players you didn't like, because I got one that I'm going to rant a little bit about today, but seemed as if Sarri played this, and ADL kind of called him out too, didn't he, Rafa? He played this a little bit more safer, a little bit more close. He knew he wasn't going to go toe-to-toe, play an open game with Napoli, because he would have probably gotten picked apart. And Napoli didn't do so bad, to be quite honest. Despite the loss.
True, especially when Lazio, was missing Casale in the back, and they had to start Patrick, and there was a lot of concern. I mean, nobody was really doubting Romagnoli being okay back there. You got Husai that knows the Napoli game. All in all, Sarri went pretty conservative with Napoli instead of opening up like his game. And listen, it paid dividends for them. But we had chances. We sure had our chances for sure. When the ball doesn't want to go in, it doesn't want to go in. Kudos to Sarri and Lazio for doing what they did at the Maradona. How many teams can you say came to Maradona and played Napoli, outplayed Napoli overall, and they did what they had to do to beat us,
Would you call this outplayed? Would you call Lazio?
I mean, yeah, I might have. When I said outplayed, maybe I was kind of hoping it didn't come out of my mouth, because I don't know if we were outplayed. I don't really think we were outplayed either, but I do think that we were outsmartened. I think that maybe we were figured out just a little bit, and I don't think we were anticipating the style of play Sadi came to us with.
Mhm.
We were anticipating the open game Sadi likes to play, Sadi ball. Sadi did not play Sadi ball against Napoli. He played conservative, defensive, counterattacking. And gosh, Raf, I mean, beside take away that amazing Vecino shot, the game went 0-0. And I would be okay with that.
I mean, listen, we saw that Kim header that was, Provolone, what's his name?
Provolone.
Had a great save. I
It wasn't Swiss cheese. He was
No, it was a
provolone
Swiss
cheese.
cheese.
He
He was
was
definitely
sturdy
provolone,
as provolone. A nice thick
right?
cut too.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
he took
right.
care
No
of
holes
business.
there. No holes in
Hmm.
those hands. But listen, I was. By the way, full disclosure, I was busy all weekend. I was, I'm doing some stuff with a small broadcast companies. So that was one of the reasons of my absences. That was the reason why I didn't even watch the game this week, and I actually watched it this afternoon because we were so busy all weekend. Um, and I was expecting something worse. I was like, "What happened?" Did not. But all in all, I think it was a little bit of a lack of luck, if that's what you want to say, a lack of finishing. I think overall, like, and here's the thing, like, it's not like they didn't play bad, they just missed some chances,
Sure.
and I think they got a lucky bounce. It was a nice shot. It was a lucky bounce. We saw it was weird how it kind of hit the floor, then hooked left, and Moret wasn't able to get his hand on it. He was definitely outstretched for it, but wasn't able to
Dude,
to
that shot,
get out.
it
But
seemed like that
crazy.
shot when he hit the shot, the ball, hit the ground first, and then it seemed like once it hit the ground, it did a funny spin. It rose from the ground. It went faster as it came in. It's one
Mhm.
of those shots where I dare him to take another shot like that again and hit the target the way he did. I dare
Yeah,
him to do that. It's only his
yeah.
second goal this season, Vecino, right? But I do have a weird little statistic for you, right? So
Okay,
this is our second loss of the season, correct?
right.
First loss was against Inter, scored by Edin Dzeko. This loss scored by Matias Vecino,
Hmm.
both former Spalletti players.
It's
So
true.
the two 1-0
Think of that.
defeats came at the hands of former Spalletti players.
Look at
And
that.
also,
It's
Mario
like
Rui didn't play in this game, and in every game we lost this season, including Coppa Italia, Mario Rui didn't
Marie
play.
was not on the pitch. I wonder if it's listen. I think Oliveira does a good job defensively, but when it comes down to offense, for me, it's Mario Rui. I think
Mhm.
he does more than we think he does sometimes. And despite not having any goals, obviously he's one of the top with assists. I think he's one of the second in the team, right behind
Mhm.
Cavada.
Yes.
He's in the top 10 or top 5 now, I believe, in all in Serie A, maybe. So yeah, I think offensively we do miss Mario Rui when he's not there because again somebody had mentioned about not having enough crosses, and that's one thing he provides. We've all seen his crossing ability this season and how much it helps. So yeah, kicking people in the junk, whether it be out of frustration or what have you. You know, I don't want to say it cost us the game, but it possibly, puts us in a position where we have no choice to start Oliveira, and we might lose a little bit of that offensive presence. And when the teams are parking the bus, and when teams are clogging the lanes, Rui is a good guy to have on the field because he does make those crosses and he could put the ball over these clogged lanes in the midfield. And we didn't see much of that from Oliveira going on, and he even had his opportunity. Oliveira, there was one where he kind of was going in the box, and then I don't know, he started like looking lost or confused or something, and then
Yeah.
he ended up getting the ball taken away from him. So,
Yeah.
um, you
You
know,
know, and not only that, it's not that Oliveira can't play an offensive game. I think he's okay offensively. It's not like he's not great, but he's okay. I just think that we're missing an aspect of our game when Mario Rui is not on that pitch. We're missing a key aspect to where we can we can press with Mario on the left, and we can press with Lorenzo, Giovanni on the right, Di Lorenzo, and I think when when Oliveira's in, we're much more defensive and rely more on the midfield to do things, which generally the midfield has done its job, but
Right.
not so much today or for this match. But listen, a loss, we'll take it. Also, when we have opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net, and it's like magical saves prevent us from it. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? Listen, it's like I said, it's one loss at home. It's the second loss of the season. It's not the end of the world. For a little while there, we were only, with Lazio winning, climbing into second provisionally, we were still 17 points ahead, So, like, had Inter lost their match because Milan ended up losing theirs,
Right.
had Inter lost or drawn their match, we would only have lost 1 point in the standings for the Scudetto after losing a match, which is huge. It's very big. Inter won, and it's 15, fine. But another thing that I like that happened this weekend is that Juve lost, and all of those Juventini coming out claiming that they'll get their 15 points back, and when they do, they'll only be 12 behind Napoli, which is doable, quote unquote, when they beat Roma, quote unquote, which didn't happen. And I'm not quoting because that's actually true. It didn't happen. Roma beats Juventus, and then they can go away now. So we're
Go
fine.
away.
Everything is fine. Tutto a
Allez,
posto,
buen. Allez,
Alle
buen.
win.
Allez, buen. No, good point on that, Rafa. But do you think that, Joe Fischetti a couple podcasts ago mentioned something that I kind of hit me. It struck me, and I thought was important to repeat here on the rant. That do you feel that maybe the team has been a bit Cavada, Osimhen dependent? Now, mind you, I do want to say that in the fall, we spoke about the fall, winter, around that transition. We spoke on the rant about, hey, we'll take 7 points lead. Napoli have doubled that. Losing a game, to be honest, like we can give
More than
them,
double.
yeah, we're more than double, right? Losing it, we can give a little bit of leeway for this loss. But considering we scored no goals at all, and considering some of the performance of one of our midfielders, do you think that Napoli has lost a little bit of that kind of participation? Mind you, we have 17 goal scorers, but a lot of this came from the beginning of the first half of the season before the World Cup. Do you think Napoli loses that edge a little bit at all lately? Is there something about, Cavada and Osi being in such form that maybe sometimes we don't get more contribution? Or do you think everything's kind of more or less the same as it was?
I think you're seeing a lot of Kvara and Osimhen on the stat sheets. And it shows that this is the tandem duo, right? Like that's going to get Napoli to their third Scudetto. But what I do think is that, the fact that Osimhen scored 8 goals, in 8 straight matches, that streak was bound to be broken at some point. Kvaratskhelia was bound to have a, tough game at some point. I love how people come out and say, "Oh, I thought this was the best Napoli you will ever see." Blah blah blah. They lose to Lazio. Kvara's quiet. Osimhen did nothing. Players are allowed to have a less than good game every maybe 11 or 12 matches. It's not out of the look at Marcus Rashford in Manchester United, where everybody was touting him to be the best since the World Cup, better than Osimhen, so great. Yet United lost to Liverpool, who had been struggling and recently found their winning ways again. But everybody thought Man United was going to roll over Liverpool, and it was 7-0 Liverpool. 7. So, where was Rashford for that match? You know what I'm saying? Where was the
where was ESPN
resurgence
then?
of the defense there? Yeah, exactly. So, listen, we all pretty much, most of the team had an off game, which is allowed. Even the great Juventus have won 102 points in 2014, lost 2 games. Will we lose another game? Maybe. Will it be because we're Kvara and Osimhen dependent? I mean, I like what you said about in the fall and winter when those two players were each gone for a certain amount of games, not necessarily at the same time. We had players like Raspadori step up, who's injured. We had players like, Simeone come in to score and take over. Elmas scored goals. We had goals from Di Lorenzo. We had goals from the midfield. Chucky scored a couple, was assisting on a few. Zielinski doing his job. And maybe when these two are firing on all cylinders, everybody sort of maybe takes a little bit of a step back and maybe makes their job easier. But at the same time, there are certain teams that are forced to play open to try to score goals, where we capitalize on them. And Lazio is a team with quality. I've said this before. I haven't stated this statement where I don't think I said this in public, where I thought Lazio would be one of the teams to beat us. I was really afraid of them when we went to the Olimpico, very afraid of them, because I know that they're a good team and they've proven it. They're
they definitely got quality on the field.
Exactly. Sadi is doing his work on this team. Like, Sadi is allowed to do his work on this team. Sadi wasn't allowed to do that at Chelsea. Sadi wasn't allowed to do that at Juve. But at Lazio, he's able to do it. So, in my opinion, the two teams that I thought we would lose to, we lost to. I was afraid of Lazio at the Olimpico. We overcame that. And I was afraid of Inter coming back from the World Cup. We lost that game. And here we are at the Maradona, lost that game. So now that's it. I'm really not afraid of any other team in Serie A, but Lazio actually have a great team with options in the defense. The third best defense in the top 5 leagues of Europe, third most clean sheets, I should say. Anyway, I don't know about best defense, but they have the third most clean sheets other than Barcelona, which is number 1, and actually Juventus, even though they're down in 10th place. With number 2, with the second most clean sheets in the top 5 leagues of Europe. It's Lazio 3. So am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised that we lost to them. I'm disappointed. But I also don't believe 100%. Like, I see where Joe Fischetti is coming from when he says maybe we're a little Osimhen Quadra dependent. That's because their names are in lights. They're in radar. They're on the radar. They've got the big teams looking at them with the big fees and all that stuff, and they're producing numbers. But I think the team is very capable of handling their business when they have bad games too. It just so happens they had a bad game against one of the better teams in Serie A, who are going to qualify for the Champions League.
Fair point. I like it. I want to address a question here from Joey Carbs, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff, Rafa. But he says, Joey Carbs says to us, I worry that this Lazio model might be used by other teams to unlock us. Did Lazio find something here? Thoughts?
Well, go ahead.
My short answer is no. They didn't unlock anything. They didn't find anything. There was other teams that parked the bus with us and gave us a hard time and clogged all the lanes and yada, 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 and we were able to overcome. I think, again, when I was, before I watched the game, I thought, well, what happened here? But then after I watched the game, I realized that, well, the bounces didn't come our way, literally, and no pun intended, actually, with a nice, bounce kick from Vecino over there to score. The bounces didn't come our way. I believe Osimhen had a post, a little hashtag Legna Napoli, right?
Hashtag Legna Napoli with the shoulder.
Kim almost scored point blank range.
That was from the ensuing play. Like it hit the post.
Oh, it was from the same play. That's right.
Sure. It hit the post. It came back to Kim, who headed it right towards goal. Provedel came out with a one-handed, great save. Let's not forget to mention the fact that Zielinski took a shot and almost scored too. Missed a really, really good opportunity. And let's not forget that just for me, the bench didn't have it. And some players, when they got close to the box or in the box, they fumbled at their feet. They stumbled at their feet.
Right.
Olivera being
shot in the traffic too.
Shot into traffic, blocked shots, and
8 blocked shots for Lazio. this
and
game.
took their time with the ball instead of got rid of it. There was one play that Zielinski could have passed to Kvara that was pretty open, and went for the shot himself. But, sometimes when you feel it, you feel it. I don't really fault, Zielinski for that either. But, like I said, so to answer who asked the question, I'm sorry, I forgot who asked it.
That was
But
Joey Carbs.
to answer Joey Carbs, maybe he's got a point when he says, unlocking Napoli. But listen, guys, Napoli have only lost 2 matches all season, and they were both 1-0s in pretty tight games. I don't see anyone unlock Napoli. And here's the thing, is that if you're going to unlock Napoli with the style of play that Lazio played in, not every team can play like that against us because they're going to get caught out. Lazio, again, have quality back there. They have a great defense. They have a wonderful goalkeeper, one of my favorites now. And their midfield is solid. It was in my opinion, it was probably one of the more evenly matched sides Lazio have. And I'm saying a lot of high praise about them, but I think it's true. I think they have great quality in every position, and maybe where they lack is a depth and the fact that their mentality still needs work. They can kind of tend to drop points against smaller teams, and they got it done against Lazio, against Napoli, against us. And I again, like I said, I think the Napoli game against Atalanta on Saturday is going to go our way for sure, because that's a team that's struggling big time. They can't seem to find their way out of this little mini hole that they're in right now.
Right.
And I don't see what's happened. And everybody says, oh, Mario Rui, he missed the 3 games that we lost, and he's going to miss this one. And now it's like, here comes another, And don't get me wrong, it'll be a tough game, but I don't see Atalanta doing what Lazio did and being that successful, So yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I'm not that worried.
Fair enough. Now, before we get to the beast of the match, there is one person that I wanted to speak about that, I'm having a hard time with him lately. And I named this segment, and Anguisha.
Anguish.
And for Anguissa here. Ciao, Dante. How are you? Good to see you back. We're doing okay. Thank you for asking. Yeah, sorry for you. We're doing really good up top there, despite our loss. But thank you for always being a good sport and coming in and being a good guy here in our in the Napoli rant chat. But Anguissa, this is a guy who won, like, hands down, won Beast of the Quarter for the first quarter. I mean, his gameplay opening up this season was, it was even better than what we saw when he opened up last season when he played against Juventus, his first game, and won Beast of the Match. I wasn't happy. I haven't been happy with his performance since the World Cup. I haven't been happy with his performance, honestly, since he snagged that little injury last winter, whatever, and this past few months. And I don't know if his foot is off the gas because the team's doing so well and maybe he doesn't really need to do as much. I'm not sure what it is, but I don't think he could have stopped that goal. He was near what's his name, Vecino. Can't believe it slipped my mind. Yeah. And he was just kind of lollygagging, just kind of jogging around a little bit, and he's been doing that a whole lot. You'll see some spurts of energy from him, but I don't see the same Anguissa, and I think this is a big deal. I think Zielinski has been a little bit inconsistent, but over the past few games has showed up, has come back to form, has given the team, way more sweat, way more energy. But Anguissa, this was a guy that can dispossess anybody in the midfield. This is a guy that can run back and cover Di Lorenzo. This was a guy that was vital to our defense at one point. And not only that, but added this offense to his game where he was able to play make, he was able to create assists, and a couple times was able to score. We don't see half of that right now. And I'm wondering, where did Anguissa go? and it's just giving me anguisha, because hell, like, listen, Napoli to me, the beginning of the season was the midfield. The midfield, I was like, bro, these guys, if they play like this, nobody's gonna beat us. Because to me, in my opinion, in Italy, if you control the midfield, you're gonna win. You're gonna win. You're gonna win the Scudetto. You're gonna win the Scudetto. It's so important to control that midfield. And Lobotka has been shut down, playing on his hands, on his head. I mean, 100%. Even on his bad games, some people said against Lazio he didn't have a great game. He was being pressed. Da 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 da. Even then, he didn't even look that bad, you know. And he was still quarterbacking, pointing, giving directions, keeping the ball, trying. And Guisa was getting the ball and laying off back to Lobotka, getting ball, laying off back to Lobotka. Not even, turning, trying to make a run. Sometimes what you would see from like Ndombele, or what we saw was when he was taken off around the 70th minute, Elmas comes in, and Elmas is like running around like a freak of nature, just trying to participate. We almost scored. He helped on defense. He helped. You can see right when he was on the field that, Lazio couldn't move as forward as quick. They were more hesitant on the counter. They had to go back and reset. And it wasn't that Elmas was dispossessing, but he was just putting pressure on the ball handler and making them go back again and try to reset. I haven't been seeing that one in Guisa. And to me, this is a guy, like, I give him the least of the match against Lazio, because this is a guy that, I mean, considering what he did at the beginning of the season, I'm not as satisfied with this play. I can appreciate some of the bursts that he had. He did all right in Champions League, but he's got to keep this up. I want to see this the whole game. I want the whole season, not just when you feel like it. And I think him coming off the field right after that goal, I think that was a message from Spalletti. I think Spalletti noticed what was going on there, and he's like, I'm going to revamp that whole right side, and Elmas in and Guisa out.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do see a lot of people in the chat room, saying things like Anguissa needs rest. He's been playing. There's not really a great direct, substitution for him. I guess, I get that. I do, but Lobotka's playing lights out, and he's had the same amount of matches and the same amount of minutes, and so has Zielinski, so like this midfield is the three in the midfield, so there's a lot. Obviously we can make moves like put Elmas in there for him, and or maybe give Ndombele a start somewhere, somehow get him in there. Apparently I need a rest too. Shoot, I think I'm playing midfield for
that. Right.
You're playing midfield. Sorry about that. Anyway, I do believe that he does need a rest. Not all players are the same, right? He does play he does play very hard when he's on. I agree with you, Ralph. The Champions League game is probably one of his better games all 2023, right? Maybe it is smart to sit him down, because we do kind of need him for this Champions League match that's coming up next Wednesday, a week from, in 9 days from now. Perhaps we let him sit against Atalanta and use him for the Champions League. Then we have another match at the weekend, and then it's off to an international break, which maybe he goes to play for Cameroon or not, but still it's a little bit of a break away from the team, and everybody can refresh and refocus. And honestly, even though he's not playing up to par as of late, a less than fresh or less than on point Anguissa, we're still winning games left and right. Okay, we lost Friday, but still,
I'm nitpicking at this point, probably.
No, and everyone is
because of what he did in the beginning of the. It's because of what he did in the beginning of the season that I get so emotional about. I'm like,
exactly, and you're okay to. It's okay for you to nitpick. It's fine.
I will.
It's fine.
I do that.
Don't let anybody tell you,
America.
Hey,
I thought this was America, Rafa.
It's America for sure.
It's America. Our opinion matters.
America.
More than everybody. America. But yeah, finish up, because I want to get to the beast of the match.
Nah, I'm kind of done with it. Listen, Anguissa's still a beast of the first quarter, and still has it in him. let's let him sit for one match.
Give him a break.
It's tough to say that because we can't really let Lobotka sit because he's the guy that's got to play every game. So
Right. But he's good.
These are humans; they're not machines. You know what I mean? And at some point in the season, Spalletti will be able to rotate these players a little more heavily because pretty soon we're gonna kick, lift up that Scudetto. So there you go.
All right, guys. Beast of the match of this game, match day 25 versus Lazio. We do a win, lose, or draw. We always pick one now. Something that we started new this season on the Napoli rant. So let us know. A little bit of surprise. Saw Vinny going Kim. 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 Di Lorenzo's a beast with that clearance off the line. Yeah, definitely earned him a nomination for sure.
So Vinny is picking the whole South Korea backline, keeper and defenders included, as beast of the match.
But yeah, we'll show it right now, guys. Here we go. For the second week in a row.
2 weeks in a row. And look, everyone, it's on your screen instead of on my phone screen.
Yeah.
Look at that. We'll have to figure that out, Ralph. But
we'll talk about it. Yeah, but this is it, guys. Peter Zielinski. Now, me and Rafa threw back somebody was saying D'Lo or Kim. I know D'Lo has that wonderful highlight. And I don't want to take away anything from that, but to me, this guy he's shown up these past two games, and that's why. And I'm so happy because he didn't get a beast of the match until last week, all season. You know what I mean? Like this, and we were so shocked. We thought he would have at least had one or two, maybe before the World Cup, but that didn't happen. He was doing well. He did well, but he wasn't beasting it. I think this game, if there's one guy that really stuck out for me, it was Peter Zielinski. I mean, he was running back and forth. He was making plays. He was taking shots. Yes, there could have been a few layoffs that he could have done to Cavada. He needs to make sure that he's looking at the whole field and to see who's the best chance to take a shot. I'll say that much. But honestly, when this guy is playing right, I mean, our offense is almost unstoppable. The fact that we didn't score and this man is a beast is like an anomaly to me. Like, I don't even get it. I don't get it. But for me, Peter Zielinski has been playing super energetic. He's back to what we want to see him do. And I just had to give it to him. I mean, yes, Lobotka can win every game. He was cool. He's like Koulibaly last season, definitely. And, Cavada had a decent game. D'Lo had a great highlight, clearing that ball right off the line with his head. Kim had shutting down Immobile. Rafa, you'll talk about that. But I just had to give it to Zielinski, man. He really he's sweating that jersey this game. And he was just super noticeable. And that's what stuck out to me the most. And that's why, for me, at the end of the day, he got beast.
Yeah, and I agree. I think he's played really well over the past few games. I think he's rediscovered his form. And I would definitely see why he would be the beast. He wasn't my first choice.
Right.
But we spoke about it, and I think we agreed. 2 in a row for Zielinski. I think he deserves it. We all know that Peter's a big fan, because he's the Zielinski guy, But I'd like to advocate for Kim and Jay.
Okay.
I think Kim was really, really. I think he had a lot of great stats, and I know the beast isn't really, a stats thing. It's a feeling thing, right? We felt that Zielinski played better, or deserved the beast role. But Kim was, he won 8 of 10 duels, and all 8 of the duels that he won were in the air. So he was on the ball. He was on a lot of crosses. He was on a lot of balls. He had the header that almost scored, where Provedel made the save. He ran up in offense, a lot, especially towards the end to try to get a goal, and then ran right back to defense. And I think Kim deserves a shout. I also, if Kim, if Napoli had gotten a result out of the match, whether it was a win or a draw, it could have either been three: Zielinski, Kim, or Di Lorenzo. Di Lorenzo, for me, with that goal line clearance for Di Lorenzo in the first couple minutes of the game, I thought was going to save the game for us. And I was fully prepared right then, even live time watching it. I didn't even have to watch it again. I was like, beast right there. If we come away with a win or a draw, he gets beast right there, right at that move, that amazing headed goal line clearance. But, again, Zielinski needs to get his due. I think he definitely deserved it. He was on a lot of balls. He made a lot of great runs. He had a great shot. He put in a lot of good balls into play, really created some chances. So, I'm good with it. I'm good with the decision that we made.
Rafa, I'm going to take one question before we move on to the last segment tonight from Foxdrop, who, by the way, who always sending out comments for the replay. Foxdrop, I see you out there. We try to respond to all of them. I think we did. So we appreciate that. Keep it up. So I'm going to answer your question here. Who do we start against Atalanta, knowing we have a Champions League right after? That's a good question.
Who do we start against Atalanta to know that we have the Champions League right after? So here's the deal. We don't really deviate from the plan. I mean, if there's a way that we can get Anguissa to have a seat, we're already down Mario Rui.
Just kidding.
I don't see us going any other way than Lozano, Kvara, and Osimhen up front. Lobotka, Zielinski, Anguissa / Elmas / Ndombele.
Who do you think starts? Elmas or Anguissa?
I have a funny feeling he'll start Elmas. Elmas had such a great game against Atalanta last time out. I believe we gave Elmas beast of the match for that. I don't remember. No, that was Osimhen. Osimhen definitely got beast of the match for that. But Elmas was a shout.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough. I won't be surprised if Anguissa starts, but I would be pleasantly surprised and grateful if he sat for one match just to kind of rest. Maybe he comes in 20 minutes after left. I don't know. But
I'll read off Vincenza's response here. Vincenza Bertillo says, I play our starters, quote unquote, versus Atalanta and rotate a bit more versus Frankfurt, given the result in the first.
I was going to say the same thing.
Pretty
we
good
have a 2-0 lead.
I like it.
They again, away goals don't count anymore for anything in Europe. So, scoring 2 goals away only means that they have to come to our house and beat us 2-0. But the away goals don't count, so that's gone away. However, asking a team like Frankfurt to, without Colomoni too, their top player, by far, their top player, Colomoni, he's out with the red card that he got against us.
That's right.
You're asking this team to go to Maradona and beat us 2-0. Like, that's, this is not Inter or Lazio. This is a Frankfurt side that is good, but is good with their best players. And
my take, Rafa, is that like Frankfurt, and I saw it. I don't think I was here for the post champions game because I was out, but Frankfurt is a team that, to beat Napoli, have to play perfect, and that's going to be hard to sustain for 30 minutes. They did great in the opening. They were at home. Everybody was excited. They were pumped. They did great holding down Napoli. They gave them a hard time. Frankfurt gave a hard time to Napoli to engage our strikers, but they couldn't sustain that, as you saw. And little by little, Napoli was chipping away. We'll probably have Mario Rui back. I know somebody had said it here that Daniel said All I'm saying is we better be in against Frankfurt. Daniel says,
He will.
and Gaetano says Napoli 5, Germans 1. I like Frankfurt Airport, by the way.
Is that Napoli 5, Germans 1? Is that the result for the second leg, or is that the full tie result? What do you think, Gaetano?
Good question.
You're saying we win that game 3-1?
I think we'll be all right.
I believe we'll comfortably beat the Germans.
Okay.
And Mario will be back for that match. He would be playing in that match regardless, because the red card doesn't count in the Champions League. It is a Serie A red card. Mario will be back for the match before the break. So the match after the Frankfurt match, he is eligible to play in that match. I believe it's against Torino. I'd have to check. But yeah, we're in good shape. We're in good shape. No matter how we start. Yeah. I don't, especially with Inter beating Lecce this weekend and it now being a -15 for them, like you don't want to risk too much change in the lineup, especially against Atalanta, who, like I said before, is struggling, but can very well be dangerous. We all know how dangerous they can be. I don't think you deviate too much from the plan.
Right.
For us, we're trying to clinch a Scudetto as soon as we possibly can, while we manage to get by in the Champions League. So maybe later we have better chance to concentrate only on the Champions League. And it is Torino. Thank you, Akramone, for that. I appreciate that.
I'm going to put on a little closing music and we'll wrap it up with this last segment. Rafa, we won't take too much time on it, but I think Body moved up recently in Serie B, I believe, and there's talk that if they advance, who's ADL going to choose, and I think all things considering, Body's going to get sold, and I'm pretty sure ADL will be Napoli.
There was a report came out and said, quite frankly, that ADL said that he will sell Body. It's right. It's an absolute thing.
He was pretty direct about it too. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's like, I'm selling Body.
He doesn't beat around the bush. He doesn't. Kudos to him. I think that's a smart move. Very smart.
But let me talk a little smack, because let's not forget that Body, right? About, I don't think it was last season, it was on 2020 or 2021, putting up Striscione, calling ADL a liar that they didn't get the Serie B in 3 years, but they got it in 4 years, or whatever it was. Okay. And now they're putting on messages that, hey, you could stay at Body. We have just as, we're just as big as Napoli, or some along the line. We have just as much potential as Napoli, and we hope at least we sell to somebody good. Don't forget, 2-3 years ago, you shitted on the De Laurentiis family because you couldn't just hold your emotions back in, because, you failed one season, one of the worst seasons ever in any club. That any club could easily tank, could have easily went to bankruptcy, including Napoli, but you didn't. Instead, you're here fighting, and you might see Serie A next season. So, listen, guys, be careful what you wish for. Be careful how you talk smack. Remember, everybody talked smack in the beginning of the season about ADL when he sold the players, and then they're like, "Oh my God, it was A16, A16 East. Now it's A16 West."
For sure.
Don't ever, we forgive, but we don't forget. And yes, Body's going to get sold, because let's keep it real. There was reports coming out that Napoli quite possibly was going to fetch somewhere in the billions, like $1.2 billion from an American national company or something like that, and ADL turned it down. Now, I couldn't find a whole lot of articles. I only found one on that, so I don't know how much I believe it, but if you're going to tell me that Napoli is fetching in the billions of dollars, we're not getting sold. I think ADL finally tasted what success is, and that's the season and what it could be. And I think he has a new way of doing it. He has a new philosophy, and he wants to roll with this as long as he can. And he wants to bring Napoli's value as high as possible. Let's keep it real. Body is not going to make that. Not going to make that. Not going to make that $1 billion mark for a long, long time. So it is what it is.
Yeah. That it is what it is. And for everybody freaking out as well on the words of Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia recently coming out saying things like, "Oh, it's my goal to play in the Premier League, and I've been a fan of Real Madrid for all my life. I'd love to play there." You guys, just relax. Let's relax because this is nothing new. Everybody knows Osimhen's a big fan of like Chelsea and the Premier League and what have you. Everybody knows he loved Barcelona. Everybody knows Kvara loved Real Madrid. And where are they? They're playing with Napoli. Let's not make this too much of a big deal right now. I think it could be the press trying to mess with Napoli like they usually do.
No, they're trying to get clicks, Rafa. That's it. They got nothing else to talk about. What are you going to talk about? We're running away with the season.
Osimhen said the same thing today as he said a year ago, 2 years ago at the beginning of the year. It's fine. I don't care about it. I don't care. He also said he loves Napoli and wants to win everything here too. So, hey, let's focus on that right now while we have that going for us, yeah?
Ragazzi, non scherziamo. Io voglio vendere il Bari. Il Bari is not worth $1.2 billion. I'm going to sell you.
The Bari, it's not worth the 1.2 billion. And
I will sell you.
Napoli is worth the 1.2 billion.
Non scherziamo, ragazzi, dai. Il Cavaradona, se puoi andare, vai. Però
come
I will make
dice i
$100 million.
Non ti preoccupare.
Non ti preoccupare. Victor Osimhen e Kvara vale 200 milioni. Non scherziamo, dai. Io voglio tutto.
My players are not for sale.
Quando vendo, io non ho debiti. Non ho debiti.
Non ho debiti.
Dai.
Non ho debiti a nessuno. Non ti preoccupare.
Non scherziamo, ragazzi. Napoli, i napolitani. Non preoccupare.
What about earlier this season? Ragazzi, stai calmi. Quest'anno vinciamo lo scudetto. And everyone thought he was nuts.
Right. First time he said it, and we're about to do it. Maybe he should have been saying that.
Yo, and they know what's happening. They for sure know.
I hope you enjoyed the show, guys. Don't forget
listen, guys, I'm sorry, Ralph, to cut you off. Before we go, we have a big announcement. Yes, impromptu, last minute. We will be having a Tri-State Napoli Club meet at Luna in Nutley, New Jersey for a Napoli Atalanta. The match starts at 12 o'clock p.m. It's this Saturday, the 11th. Once again, not so sure I'm going to be able to make it. Ralph Biz, I don't know either. But if you can get there, please get there. We're also, like I mentioned last week, we're having the meet in Wednesday for the Champions League game on the 15th at Ribalta, and then again April 2nd, Sunday against Milan. And this Saturday, the 11th at 12, Napoli Atalanta at Nutley, New Jersey. Be there, please.
Be there, be square. Go for it, guys. Great time. We were there the last Lazio game prior for Empoli. So, come participate, guys. It's a growing community. I'm sure you have a lot of fun, man. It really is like a big family atmosphere. But yes, please give us a like this episode. Please. Is that video there? Please give the show a subscribe. We've grown to 1,000 on Twitter. Thank you so much. We passed the 500 mark here on YouTube. We would like to reach 1,000 subscribers. Please help us. But Rafa, great show as always. Thank you to the chat.
I got one last little surprise for you, okay?
Okay.
I don't know if you heard that.
So give me a hug at Zelensky.
Yeah.
Love it. There it is. That line is famous now, man. That's great.
We need to make that
Like a meme or like an audio meme.
like an audio bit for our show. You know, what a goal by Zielinski. You hit the button. Peter, give me a hug. That was Zielinski.
every time Zielinski scores, Peter gets a hug from him. All right. But we're out of here. Great show again. Until next time, guys. Forza Napoli sempre.
Ciao, ciao. Forza Napoli.